Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to be talking about the tragic character known as Sin Eater. First appearing in Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man. Let me just research something. Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man 107 in 1985. He has become one of the characters who is most infamous for his reputation. So, let's get into why he is infamous. Stanley Carter was born in Fort Monroe, Maryland, and he was experimented on by Shield. He was actually an agent, not experimented on, but he worked in research and science, and he got injected with drugs from Shield that would make him a superhuman. He was injected for it. The drug was injected into him to uh, increase strength and endurance to empower him, and also to see if this could lead, if this experiment worked, they could have did it to other people. That's what I'm kind of saying. But the experiment was actually too dangerous and it was shut down. Carter became violent and resigned from Shield, and he became very violent and wanted to kill people, which we'll see more of later in this video. But he eventually joined the New York City Department of Detective Agency. I don't know how to say it, which is what he joined, even though he is violent. You, you'll understand later, I bet. After one of his partners were killed by several young criminals, he became obsessed with murdering, I think. I don't know. Let me research. He was obsessed with killing people who were abused by the sin of authority. Which I don't know why he would be happy to kill people with the sin of authority if he has a shotgun. Bro thinks he's Jesus. Honestly. Bro thinks he is. So he's kind of like acting like God, so he can kind of like eat the sins of people, but we'll see what happens later. He he did something that is very much remembered in the Spider-Man comic industry. As Sin Eater, his first victim was Jean DeWolf, DeWolf, in the very dark novel with along with Craven's Last Hunt, Spider-Man or The Amazing Spider-Man: Death of Jean DeWolf, which is a great story. I would recommend start reading it if you want to learn more about this guy, Stanley Carter, bruh. Honestly, if you want to learn more about him, that's one of the stories you should read. But instead of being still a sin eater, he is a detective that works with Spider-Man to try to find the killer. Then his second victim was Judge Horace Rosenthal, which is definitely one of the characters that I think you will see it in Death of Jane DeWolf, I think. So, do not throw crap at me if it is wrong. Also, the second victim was a friend of Matt Murdock. After Rosenthal's death, he escapes, but he is attacked by Spider-Man, which is not really logical. He ran away, but he actually killed an innocent bystander while running away. He kills the bystander during the battle, and then something else happens. Spider-Man and Daredevil team up to find out that Sin Eater's next victim is going to be Spider-Man's first girlfriend, Betty Brant, which is actually really kind of scary because Spider-Man knows that this guy is going to kill someone that's very close to him, and he doesn't want that. So he's got to stop Sin Eater somehow, right? We'll see later. Spider-Man goes into a fierce rage and he tries to save Betty, but we soon know what happens. Spider-Man legit beats Sin Eater to near death, And then Sin Eater is transported to Rikers Island, and Brant's the wolf's father tries to kill Sin Eater, but Spider-Man and Daredevil intervene. Sin Eater is put in physical and mental uh, care in Shield's, but he is crippled by the defeat of Spider-Man, which is kind of cool. Cause honestly, my man kind of was the one who did it to himself. If you agree, like Shield purges all the drugs inside him, and then I'm gonna do some more research so you can see what I'm using. You probably already see it in the corner. Sin Eater Wikipedia. But still has visions of his Sin Eater persona. After Carter is released, he returns the favor Spider-Man did by rescuing the latter from an angry mob and begins writing a memoir of his career as the Sin Eater. However, he he has trouble readjusting to society. Finally, he snaps, taking an empty shotgun and goading police officers into an open fire on him. Carter's killed, though finally freed from the Sin Eater persona's control. The Sin Eater is later resurrected for Kindred's next plot against Spider-Man. While in their safe house, the inner demons were attacked by the revived Sin Eater as Overdrive took his car and drove away, wishing that the attacker was the Punisher. Overdrive raced for 3 days, trying to avoid the Sin Eater. On the day where Spider-Man's dream predicted his death, Overdrive found Spider-Man and asked for his protection, only to be shot by the Sin Eater using a special gun. Carly Cooper examined his body in the morgue, while Overdrive somehow returned to life and found no bodily damages on him. When the Lethal Legion, consisting of Count Nefaria, Grey Gargoyle, Living Laser, and Whirlwind, attacked the Empire State University and fought Spider-Man, Sin Eater crashed the battle upon his special gun on Grey Gargoyle and Whirlwind. Sin Eater copied Grey Gargoyle's powers and immobilized Spider-Man. Then he used his gun on the Living Laser and Count Nefaria. When the Lethal Legion was at Ravencroft, Nora Winters interviewed Count Nefaria at the approval of Norman Osborn, where Nora learned that they have suddenly regretted their sins. Due to Sin Eater having his powers Sin Eater having taken away his powers, Overdrive was placed on life support as Carly keeps an eye on him. Spider-Man wonders how Overdrive can be in critical condition while everyone else that Sin Eater cleansed were sent to Ravencroft. Nora was later confronted in her car by the Sin Eater. Acting in self-defense, Nora shoots Sin Eater point blank, only for it to not harm him. Sin Eater does allow her to record a manifesto after showing it to J. Jonah Jameson, who was apprehensive about it. Nora posts the Sin Eater's manifesto away after cleansing some low-level criminals. The Sin Eater taunts Spider-Man again while overpowering him with the stolen powers, while stating who his next target is. When a riot occurs at Ravencroft, Osborn is informed by Count Nefaria that The Sin Eater is coming for him. The Sin Eater and his followers start purging those who have committed bad acts of their sins as Spider-Man learns that he is going after Osborn. Arriving at Ravencroft, the Sin Eater dispenses the powers he had stolen onto his followers and powers the Sin Eater corrupts the guards to his side. Then he follows a clone of Ashley Kafka to release Juggernaut so that he can steal his powers. Using Juggernaut's powers, the Sin Eater and his followers pursue Spider-Man and Osborn as the Order of the Web considers waiting for Sin Eater to cleanse Osborn before intervening. As Spider-Man and Osborn escape underground, the Sin Eater catches up to them. As Spider-Man holds on to Sin Eater to restrain him, Osborn activates an EMP to liquefy the floor beneath them. After freeing him, the Sin Eater caught up to Osborn and purged him of his sins. Kindred shows up and berates the Sin Eater for his own crimes, then presumably kills the Sin Eater by erupting him of demonic energy after he served his purpose. The Sin Eater's followers were later arrested by the police. During the last Remain storyline, the Sin Eater survived the attack as he regains his memories of killing Jane DeWolf. The fewer followers that evaded capture catch up to the Sin Eater and confirm that Osborn has been cleansed of his sins. After praying to the Sin Eater for forgiveness, he beats a dissenter in his followers to death. Then he makes plans to take the powers of someone who has haunted the spiders. After hearing about the Order of the Web being controlled by Kindred, it is shown that Morlun has escaped his imprisonment. The Sin Eater and his remaining followers break into a vault to steal the Spider-Queen's spider-virus. Once that is done, the Sin Eater exposes some of his followers with the spider-virus, which had turned them into man-spiders. This was enough to attract Morlun to their location. As Morlun started feasting on the main spiders, he is attacked by the Sin Eater. As Morlun starts to overwhelm him, the Sin Eater traps Morlun and uses his grenade to subdue him and his gun to shoot him. I like how that gunshot just played. Kindred shows Spider-Man to the mirror that revealed that the Sin Eater has purged Morlun of his sins. Then the Sin Eater is shown in the cemetery awaiting for the Order of the Web to enter to make matters worse. To make matters worse, Mary Jane Watson is shown about to enter the cemetery. Using the powers of Morlun, Sin Eater fights the Order of the Web. He starts to defeat them until Madam Web talked the Sin Eater into absorbing her sins. When he does, he taps into Madam Web's precognition to see that Kindred was using him. This causes Sin Eater to turn the gun on himself. Madam Web tried to rescue him, only for her and the Order of the Web to be captured by Kindred. As a side effect of Sin Eater's suicide, those who had their sins purged for them to regain their sins and go on a rampage in New York City. During the Sinister War storyline, Kindred revives the Sin Eater again. He is still he is still angered at Kindred for forsaking him once more. From the Sin Eater's reanimated corpse springs four demonic centipedes that seek out and take possession of Grey Gargoyle, Living Laser, Whirlwind, Juggernaut, and Moreland. Led by the Sin Eater, the Sinful Six corner Peter Parker in an alleyway and are ready to finish him off. In my honest opinion, Sin Eater is one of the most tragic and underused Spider-Man villains I have ever seen. He had one really good book, and then he just kept going on from there. But he did have a low fall, and then he got replaced a couple of times, and then he killed himself a couple of times. He died a few times. Honestly, it just matters if he's a good character or not. But after all, he really is one of the most tragic Spider-Man villains.